Hello there, everybody. Welcome back to Circling Seattle Sports. This is the first Storm Postgame Report of the 2026 WNBA season. Seattle drops the opener at home to the Golden State Valkyries by a score of 91 to 80. Uh, I will say, first and foremost, none of what happened tonight for Seattle is shocking. I don't think. Not in my opinion, right? Like we've said it. I'm pretty sure I said on the last Storm post-game report from the game, preseason game against Portland. Um, have said it in videos leading up to this. The last podcast that we did, the last Storm Roundtable with Bella and Rowan. Um, there's going to be growing pains. There will be a process here for Seattle. There will be instances where they need to grow. Um, this first quarter looked pretty decent. Seattle comes out of the first leading by a point against this Golden State team that will make a push for a playoff spot. Has some good defensive players, obviously. There's Gabby Williams there, but you add her to a roster that does have some good, solid defensive players that were already there. Excuse me. We look at this first quarter. Um, Seattle started, Seattle won the rebounding battle tonight, which is not something they were able to say a lot in the last few years. They led by as much as seven. They were getting into the paint. They were getting on the fast break a little bit. The fouls were there from the beginning. There were six personal fouls for Seattle in the first quarter, five for Golden State. The turnovers were pretty relevant early on. 5 points on turnovers for Golden State, off of Seattle turnovers. But like Zaya Cook came off the bench, looked great. 7 points off the bench in 7 minutes in that first quarter. Love to see it. What did we talk about in the last Storm postgame report? Zaya Cook, her confidence level. She looks like a whole different player, and it's great to see this be something in game one, carry over. The point was made. Hey, as the season goes on, as maybe Sonia might not use the bench as much, it just, I don't think that would affect Zaya. I think Zaya's showing you that she should be one of the first players off the bench for you, which she was. She had the most minutes, most time in this game off Seattle's bench with 22 minutes and 30 seconds. Um, there's some thought if she loses playing time as the season goes on, does the confidence go away? I think she's played into a situation where Seattle can't really afford to take away playing time from her. I don't know about afford, but you're seeing this new look Zaya Cook, this Zaya Cook that probably we saw more during her collegiate years, and you want to encourage that growth. You want to encourage that confidence. You want to nurture this, right? Let it keep growing. Um. Anyway, yeah, Seattle right away was willing to shoot the seven three-pointer attempts in that first quarter. Four makes from Steph Dolson, Flau'jae Johnson, who started the scoring, by the way, immediately. Win the tip for Seattle. I'm not her winning the tip, but Storm win the tip, hit the ball to Flau'jae, hit a three, light the place up. We'll talk about that in a minute. Zaya and Jade Melvin all hit three-pointers in this one. The Sorry, I'm looking at the stats here for the first quarter, but overall for the game, free throws are going to remain a thing. I will say the team does work on free throws after every practice that we see. Once, in the WNBA, media are allowed to watch the last 30 minutes of practice, right? And, once the team huddles, they get done with the organized practice at the Storm. They all have groups where they split off into groups. Typically, it's 2 to 3 or 3 to 4. And they all shoot free throws. It's like a competition that they have, right? So they work on free throws. I just know that there will be people say, "Well, why don't they work on their free throws?" They do. I promise you, they're working on it. Yeah, this first quarter looked good. Like, hitting the threes was great. Seeing them kind of run a little bit. We've heard a lot from head coach Sonia Raman how they're gonna run. They're gonna play fast. In the first quarter, they played almost everybody available to them on the bench except for Grace Van Sluten. Um, so that was kind of cool to see everybody get at least um, everybody besides Flau'jae. Sorry, got 4 minutes. Flau'jae. Um, yeah, because Flau'jae got two personal fouls right in the first quarter, so that didn't help. But some pretty even scoring. One, two, three, four, five, six, six players for Seattle scored in that first quarter. Um, just it, Golden State's, they're say they're a decently deep team. They've got some good quality starting players, maybe names that don't jut out at you, outside of Gabby. Veronica Burton's had a great year, a great career during her time in Golden State. I guess I should say great. How do I phrase this better? Her time in Golden State's been very fruitful. Let's say that she's looked really good there. Um, Phil Thornton as well has had some really good minutes in the Valkyries uniform. So it's also interesting to see former Storm player Kayla Charles. That was kind of fun. Um, yeah, first quarter looked fine, and then the middle quarters, the second and the third quarters are really where this game fell apart for Seattle. They won the first and the fourth quarter, so they won the bookends, but obviously that's not going to win you the game. They won the first quarter 24-23. They won the first fourth quarter, sorry, 27-22. That second quarter just not too great. Nine personal fouls in the second quarter for Seattle to three for Golden State. Golden State scores 7 points off of six Seattle turnovers there, which is also not great. Excuse me. Yeah, things just kind of get away. The offense started to look a lot more stagnant. Um, I asked head coach Sonia Raman pregame. I said, she's talked a lot about like the emphasis this year is growth, right? Like she was asked what she wants this to look back on this team and this season and what a successful year looks like. She talks about growth, right? And so I said, hey, it's early. Like, what growth have you seen right away from this team? Um, from the start of training camp to now. Um, oh wait, I'm trying to find my question. Here we go. Okay. And I thought this was interesting, right? I asked, "Hey, where's your growth?" And she said the biggest thing that she'd seen growth wise was understanding each other. I think it's just understanding each other, where each other wants to be. You're in pick and roll. Does my teammate want to pop? Do they want to roll? Are they slipping out? Stuff like that. Stuff that, gets built over the course of the year. And I thought that was interesting because it was kind of evident in this game that that was something that, they were just kind of getting on the cusp of and not quite fully there yet, right? Which makes sense. That's one of my big emphasis points of this is that it's going to be a process. Um, you'll have some players who have good games, but you're waiting for the full team, aspect to fill in here. Dom, 21 points in this one, nearly had a double double. She had 8 rebounds, so she came up a little bit short in that regard. Um, Dom looked pretty solid, 8 for 15 from the field. I will take that. 5 from 9 from free throw. Not the greatest, but again, plenty of opportunity to learn this year. Got the most minutes of the Storm, second most minutes in the game with 28 minutes, 37 seconds. Jade Melvin, 15 points off the bench. Nope, sorry. 13 minutes off the bench. I was reading Zaya's. But Zaya's yeah, stuttering. Zaya's also a point of confidence, which we've talked about. 13 minutes off the bench for Jade, 4 for 5 from the field, 2 for 3 from three, um, 2 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal in 17 minutes. I'm happy with Jade production. Um, Tough night for Nikita Heidemann. 6 points, 2 of 7 shooting from the field. 5 rebounds though, 3 assists. So I mean, the shooting wasn't quite there, which I'm kind of more used to seeing from her. Like a lot of us, I don't think are used to her seeing be this like lead guard, run the floor, run the offense kind of thing. I thought Jay did that a little bit more. Um, but again, it's game one, right? Uh, so it'll be interesting to see how that point guard dynamic flows throughout the course of the year. But I really liked the Jade minutes. Jade, in case if you follow the storm, you've likely already seen that she had one of her teeth chipped slash knocked out. It is the same tooth I believe she's knocked out or knocked loose like two or three different times before this. So that's great. She said she was good post game, so that's nice to hear. Um, yeah, I'll just be really interested to see that. Jade obviously wants to get out and run and push the pace. And I really thought that her post game was really like the leadership was very present. It's just, and it's obvious, of course, because a few years have passed, but you see the difference in maturity, per se, for Jade from when she was first in Seattle to now. I talked to her pregame, not pregame, technically pregame, at shoot around this morning. I have to write that up. And she's, she still seemed like this great, energetic player. But like this post game press conference, I really thought that her leadership stuck out. She sounded like a vet. She sounded like someone that's leading in the locker room, and that's great. We got Dominique Malonga as well in the post game presser, and I really thought that she's big jump in talking about her game, articulating her thoughts on it. She sounded great. I think we got better quotes from Jade and Dom than we did from Coach Raman, truthfully. Um, but maybe that's just more testament to how much I was impressed with them. So, yeah, like Jade's minutes off the bench, like Zaya's minutes, 15 points in 22 minutes off the bench, 7 rebounds, so almost a double double for Zaya. 2 assists, 1 steal in this one. Again, she looks great. She was the only player in positive plus minus for Seattle. Plus minus obviously doesn't dictate everything, but it is somewhat interesting to look at, and it helps if it helps my agenda. Um, yeah, great 15 points off the bench from Zaya. Hit 2 3-pointers in this one. Just she's finding her shot, which is great. She's not, you know, forced to just be spot up or just kind of be play dependent. She's finding her own spots, finding space, to get a look at the basket, and it's really fun to watch that sort of thing. So, um, looking at the bench here, not the greatest game from Lexi Brown. 22 minutes off the bench for Seattle. No points. The only no 2 players have not scored in this game for Seattle, and I will talk about the other one. Negative 19 plus minus for Lexi Brown in this one. 0 for 2 from the field, both 3 pointers, 2 boards, 2 rebounds, 3 assists. One personal foul, 4 turnovers. Tough, and it's also have to consider as well. Seattle kind of not kind of. Seattle has had her bring the ball up at times throughout the preseason and in camp, like in a good amount of camp sessions. I've seen her serve as a point guard, and I'm like, interesting. Your kind of like whole thing is shooting the three ball. Hmm. Yeah, interesting. Is what I will say. Excuse me. The other player who did not score a point in this game was Jordan Horston. I will say we need to give Jordan Horston some space, some grace in this. First game since her major injury that, you know, took her entirely out of the season last year. Because again, she didn't play in the preseason games for Seattle. Didn't play against Golden State. Didn't play against Portland. Like, so this is your first action. She was cleared, as our friend Bella Munson interviewed her, got the video, and she talked about that. Um, 0 for 4 from the field, 0 for 2 from three. 4 rebounds, though, 1 blocked. Um, So, I thought the energy was there. Like, it was really great. One, it was great to see Jordan on the court again, just considering the person that she is, right? The energy she brings, the human version of the Energizer Bunny. Um, maybe looked a step slower than what we've seen from her, and her finishing wasn't quite what it was in the past, but that makes sense considering that she's working her way back from a major injury. This is like her first real organized game and they put her out there. Like, I'm not concerned. I will state what I saw, which is, 0 points. Energy was there. Athleticism was on display. It wasn't quite the max athleticism we've seen before, but that makes sense when you're coming off of a critical injury, right? So I'm excited for what Jordan will be able to build and do as the season goes on. Not the start maybe she wanted, but she's strong, she's tough. She'll build on this, and I'm not worried about it. I will state that again. Um, Steph Dolson, she only scored 6 points, but I thought she played pretty all right in this game. 2 for 3 from the field, 1 for 2 from 3-point land, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2 blocked shots. I thought she moved pretty well. I thought she was a good complement to Dom in this game. I spoke to her at practice. What is today? Well, technically now it's Saturday. I've gone home from Climate Pledge and come here to home to record, as you can see. On Thursday at practice, I went and talked to Steph Dolson. I have to write that up as well. And I kind of asked, "Hey, what do you want to like? What is your play style? What do you want to accomplish this season? How do you want to have your year play out?" And she talked about really being a complement to Dominique Malonga, kind of reacting to what Dom does, how teams defend Dom, right? And best complementing that to help Dom, to help the team, and I thought that was really interesting. Um, Really kind of empowering, this young player and not really putting the focus on herself, putting the focus on Dom, which is great. And when I was talking to Jade Melbourne, she said that you know once Steph buys into you, she is the best teammate that you can have. So really exciting for that. Flau'jae, let's get the Flau'jae. Yeah, hit the three to open the scoring in this game. 12 points for Flau'jae. Not the best night from the field. 3 for 12. 3 for 7 from the 3 point line. 3 for 3 from free throw. 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal in this one. 2 turnovers, 2 personal fouls. The 2 personal fouls coming in that first quarter, so it kind of takes away from her early minutes, which is tough, right? But like Flau'jae was Flau'jae. She had the energy, she had the confidence. Um, she was doing things. She didn't let the moment dictate her, right? Um, and there are some things she's going to have to learn. There are some drives to the basket that would work in college, but not quite in the W. I think one where Kia Stokes got a big block. Kia Stokes had 3 blocks tonight to lead the game. He Stokes had a big block on one of her drives, and it's kind of like, ooh, that would work at LSU. That's not going to work in a W. Um, but otherwise, again, there's this is a season of growth. There's a lot of opportunity here for these young players like Flau'jae, like Dom. We could call Zaya young. I mean, I think this is only a real third real year in the W. Um, there's a lot of good youth here. You're still playing without Izzy Magbagor. You're still without Katie Lou Samuelson. Um, Awa Pham is still away from this team. Um, I'm not gonna freak out over this game. I will point out what didn't work. You know, we'll acknowledge it. See, it has to get better. And just kind of go over the game here. Um, Lexi, Zaya, Kenzie Holmes. I have not mentioned Kenzie Holmes, and I apologize for that. Only 11 minutes in this game, the second fewest of anybody on this team. Just taking up Grace Van Sluten. 2 points, 6 rebounds, 2 personal fouls. Like what I saw from Mac in this game was exactly what we've kind of seen from camp is the effort plays, the keeping the pressure on. There was this was an odd game, and I'll talk about that next. There was one play where she kind of clearly had the rebound, and there was a Golden State player who kind of did the over the back, like textbook over the back, and Mac trying to get the ball back was called for a foul instead of over the back that just happened to hurt. Mm. Um, I think I said it in the last Sun post game report. I'd like to see Mac get her scoring touch back. The thing that she leads Indiana basketball, both men's and women's, in all time. But the effort in any sport, of course, right? The effort, the hustle, the cliche, right, will get you on the court, will get you playing time. So, you know, you got to see that today. Sort of similar thing from Grace Van Sluten, who hit a three. all of this scouting coming out of college for Grace was that she does a lot of things well. She doesn't shoot the three well, and she made her only three-pointer that she attempted in this game. Okay, 5 points, 1 for 2 from the field. The one shot made being a three-pointer, of course. Two free throws were her first 2 points in the W. Two personal fouls. So the fouls were a big thing. 22 personal fouls against Seattle in this one. 23 against Golden State. Um, a lot of free throws. A lot of free throws. Seattle did attempt 27 in this game, which I did not realize. Golden State attempted 22. Um, so yeah, I mean, the big thing was defending the three. Janelle Saloon, 20 points, five made three-pointers in this game. Caitlin Shen gave Golden State good minutes off the bench. 14 points in 16 minutes for Caitlin Shen. Um, Saloon just, yeah, I mean, five three-pointers kind of put this game to bed. Um, Kayla Thornton hit three of them, hit three three-pointers. Um, just that those middle quarters, you scored 12 points in the third. 12 points in a quarter, unless you're holding your opponent to a similar number, will kind of kill you um, in the game because that one quarter can tank it. 17 points in the second's fine, but you lose that quarter by 9 points is not great. Um, so. Yeah, I think the biggest problems for me were how stagnant things got in the middle two quarters because they made a push in the fourth. They won the fourth quarter, 27-22. You know, they got the effort plays. Like Zaya Cook got a couple fast break points towards the end to kind of chip away at it and make it an 11-point game instead of what it had been. At one point, Golden State led by 20. Um, the stagnation of the offense, the free throws is kind of weird. You only made 70% of your free throws. Golden State only made 63%. Weird. Um, and the defense just kind of fell apart. A lot of switches on the 3-point line just didn't work. You were leaving 3-point shooters open. Um, but it goes back to that quote about kind of learning what these Storm teammates like to do, learning tendencies, learning how to play with each other, right? Because you only had 2 games, and even still, you're playing without Ezzy, um, Katie Lou, and Awa. So, um, the big things for me will be highlighting the growth spots, where the moments, show growth, show progress. That's what I'll be looking for. 20, calm 21-point night for Don Malaga. 21 points, 8 boards. I'll take that all day. 15 points off the bench for Zaya Cook. 13 points off the bench for Jade Melvin. First career points in the W for Grace Fence Luton and Flau'jae. Flau'jae looking good to start this game off, you know. Um, so nice. It was a nice night otherwise. 14,200 is the listed attendance. That's considered a sellout. Yes, there were parts of it sectioned off, but unless there is the ticket demand, the Climate Pledge Arena holds it to that number. So I'll take a sellout. So, all right, my friends, that is it. That's all my thoughts and words and kind of jumble post-game report. First of 40 this year. We're going to try to do all 40. If we do all 40, I'll give something away. Um, that's on me to do. So the first road trip of the year starts on Sunday, um, May 10th, Sunday at the Connecticut Sun. It's at 10 a.m., 10 a.m. our time, Pacific time. 10 a.m. start time on the CW Seattle locally. Connecticut lost by, I think, 30 tonight to New York, who's without Sabrina Ionescu. Um, Connecticut's an interesting team. They've got BG. They still got Anissa Morrow, Sanaya Rivers. They got Haley Van Lith off of waivers. Um, they're an interesting team. I don't know what to make of them. Them and Portland and Seattle are kind of the teams marked to be at the bottom of the league this year. I do think Seattle's a step above Portland. Um, you know, I don't know about Connecticut. I, you know, I have confidence they can beat Connecticut, so we'll see. So anyway, what did you think about game one? What were the positives for you? What did you not like about game one? Feel free to let me know. I'm always happy to engage in positive discussion. If you're here to call me an idiot, I already get called that enough, so it's really not that conducive. Um, Always happy to hear criticism too, as long as it's constructive. It's a lot of fun covering this team, covering this franchise. There's some great people on this team. There's some great people covering this team, and so just trying to bring a different voice and do something different. So, hey man, till we see you next time. Take care of yourselves. Be well. Do whatever you can to make today a great day. If I can hit the stop button on the recording.
Hey, Charles.
Hey, Jen.
Hey, were you going to watch the Seattle Storm away games this year?
Away games. Well, Rough and Tumble is the home of Circling Seattle Sports, so I was thinking of coming here if that's okay with you.
I think that makes a lot of sense. See you all here.